Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. Now today we're going to be showing you a tutorial on how to do the cold and dark startup on the Airbus A320neo in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So what could go wrong in this video? Let's go. So here we are spawned into the Airbus A320. Now let's do a nighttime startup. So because that's just a normal thing. So let's get right into it. So first of all, we turn on the battery, but before that, we do some checks. So first of all, you check the gear selector is down, the thrust levels are on idle, the engine ignition masters are off, the engine mode selectors are normal, and the parking brake is set, and the windshield wipers are off. After the necessary checks, we can already turn on the battery. Now in this case, you're gonna turn on battery 1, and then we're gonna check if it discharges properly. So turn on the battery off. Good. Turn on battery 2. Right. Then turn it off. Then turn on both batteries, then turn them off, then it should, and yeah. So now the batteries are discharging properly. So now you can turn on both batteries. Now for the overhead panel, also before you turn on the battery, make sure that the panel lighting is at 0. Then you can turn on the external power, the ground power. And then we'll go to here. So we check the wipers are off. And then in this case we will do something here, but we can't. The GPWS, you don't have to worry about those. And everything seems good here. Now we can do the ILS alarm, but you can see the ILS is already aligned, so you don't have to do it. And plus, you cannot do it. Now you can go to here. You turn on the AP master switch, you turn on the AP starter switch, and then you can. And also turn on the seatbelt sign and the no smoking light to auto. Then you check the emergency exit lights are on arm. Okay, and it is on arm. And then here you check the windshield wipers are off and stuff, and the flight controls are good. And same with here, flight controls are good. And then we can head to here, the anti-de-icing. You don't have to worry about those. The engine bleed, if it stays off, you have to turn them on. And then here you check the air conditioning, but you don't really have to. And then you turn on the APU bleed switch to supply you that air. Alright. Now you can set up the lights here. So of course for a nighttime startup you want a bright dome. So yep, set up to bright. And then or in this case you can set it to dim. That we will do. And then and then you check the fuel report. So for this flight, we have about it says about 10636 kilograms, and then we're gonna put in our flight here. So you're gonna head to initialization, then you'll see a from/to. So type in the airport you are at. So at the moment we're at LXGB. So let's just type that in. LXGB. And then you'll put a slash there. And then you're gonna put where you're flying to. Well today we're gonna be flying from Gibraltar to Gibraltar, so LXGB to LXGB, right there. And then you're gonna see this page come on. So you have to press button twice, and it will come on, and then you go back. Now you clear this, and then you can set your code route, but you don't really have to. So let's just set that up. Today we're just setting it to the exact same route we're using. So yeah. And then you can put in an alternate / co-route here. Well, that doesn't seem to work, so you don't have to put that in. And then these things you can just find out yourself. So now let's head to the fuel prediction. So right now we have about that. Anyway, let me just quickly pause. So in the aircraft we have about 1036. We should put that in there. So let's head to the performance page. So here, that's is for takeoff. So yeah, I'm just quickly gonna calculate it, and then I'm gonna put it in there. Alright, so let's put in 149 here. 149, and then I'm gonna calculate the next one. So for the next one, it's gonna be 154. Wait, is he? It wasn't. Okay, so 150. Calculate it 54, and then And then the next one is going to be 157. Okay, so before we continue, let me tell you the V1, VR, V2 speed. So the V1 is when takeoff shall not be rejected. Otherwise, if you try to reject the takeoff, you can get to an overrun. 154 is your rotation speed, so it's when you can rotate the aircraft, and then you get your liftoff speed. And then 150, and then for V2 is your safe climb speed, and it's also when you've lost one engine, you're gonna climb, you're gonna take off at 157 knots. Now let's set up the overhead panel lights, set it to the brightness you want it, and then up here we can just clean the off switches here. X-speed, you don't have to worry about that. Hydraulics, no pumps. I meant no lights, and no lights for pack 1 and pack 2. So that means it's working. Now we are heading back to the computer here for a second. So alright, everything seems good. Now we can set the barrel pressure here. So in this case it's 29.92 here. So we'll just leave it like that. And now you're gonna set up the lights here. So you're gonna turn. Okay, you're meant to turn off the landing lights instead of being retracting. You turn the taxi lights to taxi. You turn the nav and logo lights, the wings lights, and then you turn on the beacon lights. And now before the engine startup, you check that the thrust levers are on idle, both engine monitors are off, engine ignition is on normal, rudder trim is at 0, and the parking brake is set. Now for the engine startup, you will put the engine mode and put it to ignition start. And then you can start up one engine. And make sure the thrust levers are on idle. Okay, we can see it's slowly starting up. and then just wait until it hits that circle there. Okay, that seems to have gone well. And you can see the PTU has turned on the hydraulic system. Let's turn on engine number 2. And then we will check it. Now here while we wait, you're gonna put in your V2 speed. So you go to the performance page, which is the takeoff page, and then the V2 speed is 157. So we're gonna turn that to 157. And then you can put in your initial heading and your initial climb out. Then here you want to put the information mode to this CSTR, and make sure the radar is in your comfortable position, how you like it. But it's normally arc, and then you turn on your flight director. Now we can see both engines have started up, and then we can release the parking brake, and then we can go for pushback. So now you've done an Airbus A320 cold and dark startup. So now next one, you're gonna do the takeoff and climb. So yeah. Alright, so at the moment we're spawned in our aircraft, and we're gonna do a night time takeoff. So let's get into this. So we just lined up, and then before takeoff we do some checks. So first of all, check the one-way turn light is off, and then you turn on the strobe, and then you turn the strobe lights on, the beacon lights are on, the wing lights are on, now the logo lights are on, the taxi lights are at takeoff, and the lighting lights are on. And you check that no smoking and seatbelt sign is on. Now let's go for takeoff. So right now we're spawned into a short runway. So we will use the TOGA mode right here. But in longer runways, like in an international airport where they have very long runways, you put it to flex. Now, and then you check the engines, make sure they're all right. So they seem okay. And now let's turn off the parking brake and let's roll for takeoff. And before takeoff, you also set the flaps to 10 degrees. And then you try to remain the center line, but don't overcorrect it. But don't make big corrections, only make small corrections, like I'm doing here. Okay, so we've just gotten to liftoff. Now let's put up the landing gear. Right. So when you reach
US 1549-1549er heavy, leaving my airspace frequency change approved.
So now we can put up the flaps, and then just put it to the climb detent. And then you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy the view. So now the aircraft is in a clean state, which means the landing gear is up and the flaps are retracted. Also make sure the speed brakes are armed and everything is good. Okay, so you've now done a takeoff. So now we're gonna do a land. Alright, guys. So we've just descended from our cruising altitude. Now we've gotta land this Airbus A320. For that, let's do some checks first. So first of all, check the gear selectors down. The flaps are on full. But if you're on the A321, make sure it's on 3. The parking brakes off. And then you're good. And then you're good to go. Also turn on the seatbelt and no smoking light. Otherwise, it will not be safe. So only come in for this approach slowly. And then when you see the PAPI lights, try to get it too red and too white, so that you can go to the touchdown zone. In this case, turn on the ILS, and then turn on approach mode. Let's try to remain the glide slope. Now, in this case, don't go too slow, otherwise your aircraft is gonna stall. Here's your stall speed right here. So if you are on a yellow, that means you're gonna stall and you're way too slow. If it's at red, then you're gonna hear a GPWS call out. That's gonna repeat stall. No. On Airbus. But on Boeing it's just so try not to go for the yellow or red here. Also, if you're going faster and then you see this at your fastest speed, then just bring the thrust down, because that means you're gonna go too fast. And also arm those spoilers right there, and then we come in for this approach and then landing. Sorry. Okay, so you get a GPWS callout like 1000. So that's to judge your flare. But if your aircraft is going down too fast, it's gonna replace it with sink rate. Sink rate. Pull up. So yeah, you need a GPWS callouts for this to get a good flare. We can see we're a little bit too high here, and now we are good here. Okay, we're at 300 now. 200. 100.
100. 60, 40, 30, 20.
Now on short runways, pull reverse thrust and then pull the brakes as well, and try to remain the center line with a small correction. And now congratulations, you've managed to land at an airport for the first time. So yeah. So next one here is going to be when so the next one is going to be how to shut it down to get into a state called cold and dark. Okay, so as you can see, we've just parked at the gate, and we're ready to get this plane into the cold and dark. So for this, first of all, over here you're gonna turn the PFD brightness to 0%. Then you're gonna put the left ND brightness to 0%. And the VX brightness to 5%. And then you just do it the same here. No display, put it to 0. Upper display, put it to 0. And then here, just turn the right ND brightness to 0, and to put the PDF brightness to 0. Now it's time to do some other things. So first of all, over here we choose the transponder mode to standby, and then here you turn the RMP master switch to off. Then you set the brightness here to 5%, and you set the brightness here to 5% as well. Now in this case we're at our arrival, so turn off the seatbelt sign and keep the no smoking light on. Make sure the taxi lights are off, the landing lights are retracted, the runway light is off, strobe lights are off, the beacon, keep the beacon lights on, wings lights are on, nav and logo lights are off. Okay, well, make sure every single light is off, including the wipers. Now over here, you don't have to worry about the controls. But now let's just turn it to cold and dark. So here we're just gonna put the engine mode to normal. Then we're gonna make sure thrust levels are idle, and then we turn off both engine ignition switches. And then the engines will automatically shut down. Now turn the dome light to off. The panel lights up here to 0%. And you can see it's almost at cold and dark. Just gotta do a few things more. Now you turn on the parking brake, make sure it's set, and thrust levels are on idle, the gear selector is down, the engine master switches are off, the engine ignition switch is on normal, and the engine generators are on sync fault, the external power is available, the APU is off, the de-icing system is off. And then when the passengers have got out of the plane, you can now turn the no smoking light to off. And then up here you just make sure X feed is off. Then you turn off the fuel pump switches. Now you turn both battery switches to off. And you can see this entire aircraft is now in a state called cold and dark. And in real life now you can just unlock the doors and then just leave the aircraft. And that's it for the video. So if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!